Guys, welcome back to the channel. So I came across this whole situation about Latinos for Trump, and now they're regretting it, right? And honestly, I don't even know why this is shocking anybody, because the signs were all there, right? It was literally like an open book test, and somehow they still failed it, right? Some of them thought that voting for a white man would bring them closer to whiteness, like maybe they would get accepted, maybe their proximity to whiteness would protect them somehow, right? And in the process, a lot of them started to look down on Black people, maybe because they thought that it would make them more acceptable, right? Acceptable. But now reality has hit, and it's hitting hard. But let's watch some of these, the clips and some conversations around all of this, and I'll be back with my commentary. Also, credit goes to the original creators of these clips. And quick disclaimer: this is for educational purposes only, not to incite hate or violence of any kind. Let's watch, and we'll be back.
You can hope all you want that Latinos for Trump are going to fuck around and find out now that the Supreme Court has ruled that ICE can racially profile people on the street if they look like illegal aliens. But it doesn't matter, because Latinos for Trump have been pretending like they are white, assimilating into white culture so long that they think they look white, and they don't think they're going to be racially profiled. They don't think they stick out to ICE. They have whitewash goggles so badly that they think to a gang of ICE agents that they look like a white person. Don't get started on me about this whole, this white girl's talking out of pocket, doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm Cuban American. I'm very acutely and intimately aware of the thought processes going on here. You can bark at them all they want about, oh, look what you've done now. Look what you've done now. Now you're a target. Now you're a target. You can be racially profiled. They don't give a damn. They don't give a rat's ass. I know this particular niche issue doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because the Supreme Court did indeed just strip away civil rights from everyone in this country, especially those that are Black and brown. But, to me, it kind of matters. They voted for this, yes. They've done this to themselves, but they still don't give a shit. They still don't think anything's going to happen to them. They're sitting around watching other Latinos with legal status and naturalized citizenships getting snatched up off the street and sent to El Salvador. They don't give a damn. They don't even believe that stuff is happening, much less believe that it's going to happen to them now that the Supreme Court said it was okay.
Latinos, doesn't matter where you are, Mexico, Cubanos, Argentina, everything, any kind of Latino you can possibly think of, always have thought that the lighter skin you are, the closest to proximity of white that you can be. And the unfortunate part is most Cubans are light-skinned, so they always think that they get a free fucking pass because they're somehow light-skinned enough, but they're never white-skinned enough. And not to mention that Cuba was a fucking dictatorship country, so it makes perfect sense that they want some fascist leader to go ahead and run the country. And not to mention they were colonized by Spain, and they have colorism like a motherfucker. And the internalized racism that they have, because Afro-Cubanos will literally say that they are white without hesitating at all. I mean, I lived in New York for a very long time, and the Cubanos who think that they're literally white are fascinating to me, because they literally feel as if they are the exception to the rule, but yet they do not know that obviously they were enslaved by Spain, and that they're not only Latino, but most of them are Afro-Cubanos or Afro-Latinos.
I just saw this MAGA clown who's a damn Latino supporter making a video talking about, oh, I live in an all-white neighborhood and ain't none of that nigga stuff around here. Dude, you are Latino. One thing I can understand about a lot of Latinos is y'all have this mentality where if we don't like the blacks, then whites are going to accept y'all. Dude, these niggas tell y'all in y'all face, not every white person literally, y'all know which ones I'm talking about. They tell y'all in y'all face 24/7 that they just want y'all to say stuff and have you think that you're on their side when you're not. Y'all can sit up here and say all that anti-black stuff, kiss them people in their rear end. They're not going to accept you at the end of the day. I'm so tired of Latinos and their proximity of trying to be close to whiteness. And it's embarrassing that they have all this smoke for Black Americans, despite Black Americans being the reason them and other immigrant groups can even come over here to America because of the civil rights movement. Yet the same people telling them to go home to Mexico, they kiss in the rear end all day, every day, 24/7, 365 days a day out of a damn year.
You was singing all that mess, talking about I we bo for Donald Trump. And now you're screaming, shouting, acting like we supposed to give a damn about your husband being deported after you was singing, talking about I love my freedom. But your man's ain't free no more, is he? Like we supposed to have to give.
To the Latinos that voted for him, you will never, and I repeat, never be white. You will never be accepted as one of them, and you certainly are not exempt from the racism that is this racist ass regime. When that lady put in her post, alligators' lives matter, and she mentioned a number, that number being 65 million. Do you know how many Latinos are in the United States? Approximately 65 million, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Approximately 60 plus million people. So guess what? They weren't just talking about the illegal immigrants, because data actually says that there are 10 to about 12 illegal, undocumented folks in the United States. They're talking about you. They're talking about people like us, because we are not exempt from the racism that is rooted in what these people believe in, and frankly, the foundation of this country that was built on the stealing of land from indigenous people by immigrants that came here from Europe. So when you think that you are better than an immigrant because your family came here the right way, remember that this land was actually stolen from day one. So when you think that you are better because you're second generation or third generation because you've been an American for a longer amount of time, I hope that you never have to experience a time where you have to flee a country for your own safety or that of your family. So when you think that you are somehow not going to be affected by any of this, when you think that you don't have to care, what happens if you are next? What happens if it's someone that you personally know? And I know already, because we've seen it. We've seen the clips of people that supported him, diehard supporters that are now crying on the news because their family members are getting deported and they thought that they would never be impacted. You see, in this country, so many people lack empathy. They are unwilling or somehow unable to think beyond themselves, and then we run into these situations. Wake up. The proximity to whiteness isn't serving you, and it's not serving the community. You have to recognize what is happening, because ultimately, they're not just going after criminals. And all of this is connected to so many things that impact our community and frankly are holding us back, like anti-blackness and colorism and internalized racism. And if you think that these are woke words, look them up and you will realize what exists, what has existed in our community for a very long time. And I say all of this because there are so many people that have fallen to the false prophets of the world, and I need us as a community to come together and wake up. So if you're wanting more of this type of content, follow for more, because we need to have this conversation.
Y'all gonna be the downfall of the Latinos every motherfucking time. Florida Latinos, Hispanics from Florida. You cannot tell them that they are not Caucasian. Like, it's really just ridiculous.
Yeah, as someone who lives in South Florida with the I will vote for Donald Trump, that group, yeah, she's 100% right. They vote against their best interests every single time because every last one of these groups think that they're the special princess, and you're not. Like, it really is synonymous with all these groups down here, but especially Miami Cubans, white Miami Cubans, please. There's a big fat reason why there is such a huge political ideological difference between Miami Cubans and New York Cubans. Despite the fact that Dade County is massive, every group here is very insular. And the reason why they keep voting the way they do is because they never fucking leave. They will be in Dade for like 30, 40, 50 plus years. They will never leave this bitch. And if they do leave for like vacation or some shit, they're going to places with other high immigrant populations. Like, you will not see them vacation in places where white people are the majority and an immigrant population doesn't really exist. Especially in the South, you will not see them do it. And unfortunately, despite the fact that so many of these groups are feeling betrayed and lied to, even though if you had paid attention to what he was saying when he said, oh, we're only going to go after the criminals, he sees all undocumented immigrants as criminals. He's been saying that. It wasn't even subtle. And even though Republican representatives in Florida have really said nothing and done nothing about the abject cruelty being shown to these immigrant communities, I really don't believe Latin people and Hispanics as a whole are going to turn against Republicans enough to show that there are consequences for screwing them over like this. Now, feel free to prove me wrong during the midterms. I will happily take that L. But y'all have been getting told for a very long time to stop voting Republican because it will backfire on you eventually, and you didn't want to listen.
I'm sorry to my community for voting the way I did. I acknowledged the mistake earlier, but it's different. When you acknowledge something, it's kind of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. When you say I'm sorry, it's more like, yeah, I fucked up. And I think I fucked up. Obviously, my one vote didn't make the difference, but it contributed. And I don't even know why I was like so bent out on the price of eggs, price of gas and shit. I have a fucking Tesla. I'm blessed enough to not know how much milk or eggs or none of that bullshit cost. I just go and buy it. My dumbass was joining the propaganda. Oh, look at all these people. They can't afford homes. Blah, blah, blah. I can go buy another fucking house. I fucked up royally. And so now, yes, at least I'm marching. I'm doing some research, spreading the word. But I truly wish that I was on the right side of history from the get-go. Not for selfish reasons, but because had I been, at least I would not have contributed to all these people that are being hurt in our community. I wouldn't have contributed to fucking U.S. citizens being arrested because God decided to use more melanin when he was creating them. I wouldn't have contributed, and I wish that was the case. But I fucked up, so I'm sorry. But you have my word that moving forward, I'm going to be on the right side of history.
The people who say that they regret voting for Trump are the same people who fail open book tests. Because the answers were right there in front of you. All you had to do was just Google and read. Everything that Trump has done thus far has been laid out in Project 2025, and that playbook or whatever was released months before Election Day. So you're regretting your vote because his policies are starting to impact you personally, which means you are a selfish person because you didn't care once about the people around you, you just cared about yourself. So yeah, apology not accepted. However, I do hope that you continue to educate yourself before the next election. It's never too late to start educating yourself at all. So let this be a lesson and, I don't know, try to do better come next year.
All right. I got a serious question. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm not trying to incite a riot. I am not trying to hurt nobody's sensitive ass feelings. I am not trying to come for nobody's culture. But I legitimately have a very serious question that is going to be hard for them to answer probably. This goes directly to the Latinos for Trump. Serious question. What the fuck made y'all think that he was going to save y'all ass? Again, I am not trying to point fingers. I am not trying to turn around and be like, but you voted for that and you got that. I legitimately want to know why y'all voted for it. I need to get into your brain because clearly y'all brains wasn't burning and I need to understand why. Something along the way happened where y'all did not listen to the words that was coming out of his mouth. And again, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I'm trying to figure out, did you not comprehend the words that was coming out of his mouth? Because I'm starting to realize that a lot of Latinos for Trump don't even speak English properly. And again, this is not a jab at you. I'm legitimately trying to figure some shit out. I do know that during his rallies and stuff, there's an interpreter who would say everything back in whatever language that they're trying to interpret for, or there's like subtext up on the screen in the language that they trying to interpret for. And I'm really trying to figure out what the fuck was y'all hearing when Donald Trump was talking. Again, I'm not trying to be an asshole. It may come off asshole-ish, but I'm not trying to be an asshole. I legitimately, I want to know what the fuck went through y'all mind. Because Trump out of his mouth several times, this ain't no propaganda. This ain't something that somebody spliced together and put two different videos together. No. That's not what happened. Even when he was on the platform for the debate with Kamala, like he said it multiple times that he was getting rid of illegal immigrants in the areas of which they make up most of the workforce, and the Americans are at the very bottom of that totem pole. Those things was agriculture and manufacturing. Like, it is what the fuck it is. The fact is, not a stereotype, not my personal opinion. The fact is that Latinos make up 90% of agriculture or manufacturing jobs in the United States, no matter if they are here legally or illegally. 90% of Latinos make up the agriculture and manufacturing jobs in the United States. Those were the two sets of jobs on top of coal mining and oil mining that Trump was like, we got to get it back up with American workers and no more immigrants. So I'm trying to understand why the fuck y'all heard that and thought that y'all was gonna be safe. That's a literal question. Because if the fact is that 90% of the workforce for agriculture and manufacturing is made of illegal Latino immigrants, who did y'all think they was coming for first? And why you so surprised that they came for you first? Again, I am not trying to point fingers. I literally need to understand where y'all brain was and is right now, because y'all still defending this man and I'm not understanding how. Trump has literally turned y'all whole life, y'all whole existence upside down, okay? Like, it's not even Trump. The United States in general has fucked over Latinos 7 ways to fucking Sunday. A lot of people don't realize what the Louisiana Purchase was and what the end result of that was. A lot of people don't realize what the war for California, Arizona, and New Mexico was. A lot of people don't understand why the fucking Alamo stands. But I do. I understand it. I understand that the United States is a piece of shit and they keep on pulling the rug from up under y'all ass. So why in the fuck do y'all keep on listening to these white men? I'm legitimately confused. I do not understand why the fuck y'all listen to Trump. So this is me literally coming on TikTok out in the open to have a real conversation with y'all to understand why y'all really are going so hard for this disgusting piece of shit who clearly don't give a fuck about y'all. It was like not even 2 months ago, it was a couple of weeks ago that Trump came out his mouth and said that he don't give a shit about the Latinos. He just wanted y'all vote. And y'all still standing up for him. Why?
Unfortunately, it's more common than you think. So Tony Vara actually just did a video on this, but it's very common for Latinos that are from Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua to be Trumpies. And the reason for that being is they usually associate leftist politics with dictatorship regimes. So when Democratic politicians talk a lot about socialist issues or something that could come off as socialism, they get freaked out. Or another big factor besides political scare is the fact that a lot of them tend to be religious. Catholicism is an inherent part of Latino cultures all over Latin America, so it's actually very common for Latinos to base off of their vote off of conservative issues such as abortion and gay marriage. I think I saw a comment on another video talking about a similar issue saying like, oh, your parents are just gonna ignore the fact that, you know, the current president is a rapist, you know, a pedophile, blah, blah, blah. I would like to counter your argument with this thought. There is an ongoing issue with Latino families protecting predators within the family dynamic. So unfortunately, do you really think it's surprising that they wouldn't care if the current president is one? They won't even kick out predators within their own family. But the irony of it all is that my mom got political asylum because she's a refugee and my dad was undocumented most of my life. There is this phenomena that once immigrants come into this country and they finally get citizenship, then suddenly they don't care about the rest. They want to assimilate into American culture, which is in their eyes white culture, so bad they are willing to screw everyone else so they can get ahead. And the irony is that that's never going to happen. It's unfortunately very common for Latino families, especially if you come from a religious background.
See, this is exactly what happens when people think that whiteness is something that they can buy into, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how light-skinned you are or how much you distance yourself from blackness, white supremacy will never fully accept you, right? And it's honestly painful, but it's also predictable. I mean, they voted for someone who built his platform on division, on racism, on exclusion, and now they're surprised, right? And, you know, now they're shocked that he doesn't care about them either, right? I mean, look, regret is one thing, but accountability is another, right? And it's not enough to just say, oh, I regret it, because those votes had consequences, right? They fueled policies that hurt people. I mean, immigrants, black folks, marginalized groups. So yes, regret is fine, but it doesn't fully erase the harm, right? And I genuinely hope that this becomes a real eye-opener, you know, for next time, that people stop chasing whiteness and start standing in solidarity. You keep trying to, you know, be accepted into a system that was never built for you, you'll always end up on the losing side, right? Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, I'll see you on my next one.